Oh, counter right hand right over the top.
Still.
Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. have been sharing some exciting training videos lately, and fans are buzzing about them. It's like watching two experts refine their skills right before our eyes. You can feel the energy and focus in every clip. Both fighters are pushing themselves hard, but recently, Roach has been the one getting the most attention. With every new video he posts, you can see how much faster and sharper he's becoming. It's as if he's unlocking a whole new level in his abilities day after day.
I think he actually took this fight for the naysayers and all the people talking shit about the fight. I think he actually took the fight because he know that I'm a dog, and he want to prove his skills against the dog. So I'm gonna show y'all what happened.
At first, many people didn't give Lamont Roach Jr. much of a chance against Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Let's be honest, when you look at the stats, it's easy to understand why. Tank has an undefeated record, incredible knockout power, and a wealth of experience in big fights. On the other hand, Roach doesn't have many knockouts on his record, and some fans still remember his loss to Jamel Herring. But then, something changed. Roach started posting his training videos, and suddenly, the conversation started to shift.
Say 9th round.
What?
I say 9th round.
You said 9?
Yeah.
What's your response to that, Lamont?
Look, he got scared. Look.
Oh, counter right hand right over the top.
Lamont Roach Jr. looks like he's on a mission. In one video, he's focused on his footwork, moving quickly and smoothly. It's not just about speed. It's about how he positions himself, stays balanced, and keeps his angles sharp. In another video, you can see him landing combinations that are clean and precise. It's clear he's been putting in the work on his timing and accuracy. On the other hand, Gervonta Davis is as dangerous as ever. His training videos show him working on power and focus. You can see him hitting the pads with such force. It's almost intimidating. Tank knows what's at stake, and he's doing everything he can to be ready for whatever Roach brings to the table. Watching him train is a reminder of why he's considered one of the best in the sport.
You see that playing out?
I see my brother walking out victorious. There's no doubt, not because it's my brother, but because I've seen him.
Mayweather putting some shots together.
Then there's Oscar De La Hoya, who's been closely watching everything unfold, and his comments have added even more fuel to the fire. At first, it seemed like De La Hoya was just giving Lamont Roach Jr. some encouragement. But now, it feels like he genuinely believes in him. De La Hoya has been saying things like, "Don't count Roach out," and calling him sneaky good. In one interview, De La Hoya said, "Gervonta Davis is a beast. He's a tremendous fighter. But Roach, he's sneaky. He can catch you off guard. He can land combinations at will, sometimes without you even seeing them coming." That's a big compliment, especially when you think about how dominant Tank has been throughout his career. It seems like De La Hoya is trying to plant the idea that maybe, just maybe, Roach could pull off the upset.
Roach is a terrific fighter. He might be a little over his head with Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is, to say the least, he's a beast. He really is. He's a tremendous fighter. He's a dedicated fighter when it comes to training and fighting and
Of Gotti in these type of situations.
But De La Hoya didn't stop there. He went on to talk about what Lamont Roach Jr. needs to do to win, almost like he was giving him a game plan. De La Hoya said Roach needs to be smart in the ring, telling him not to get nervous or scared, just to have fun. He encouraged Roach to use his angles, stay sneaky, and keep Gervonta Davis guessing. If Roach can do that, he might just have a chance. Let's be honest though, this is easier said than done. Tank Davis is known for his ability to adjust and find a way to win no matter the situation. He's got that killer instinct, and he can end a fight with just one punch. De La Hoya knows this too, which is probably why he keeps stressing the importance of Roach staying unpredictable. He also advised Roach to mix up his punches. Don't throw every punch with full force. keep Tank on his toes by surprising him.
Family's from DC. My whole family, like my entire family.
Don't bring them. Don't bring them.
For what?
Don't bring them. I'm telling you.
They gonna celebrate with me. You hear me?
Don't bring them.
Even if you think that some of these shots aren't legal, if that were the case, it's me.
What's interesting is how closely Oscar De La Hoya seems to be studying Gervonta Tank Davis. He even brought up the time Tank got shaken up in a fight when Ryan Garcia landed a big left hook. De La Hoya said if Roach can catch him with a similar punch, he might have a shot at knocking him out. It's a bold statement, but it shows that De La Hoya isn't just trying to hype up Roach for the sake of it. He's seriously thinking about how this fight might unfold. Of course, not everyone is buying into this idea. There are still plenty of people who believe this fight is a mismatch. They point to Roach's low knockout percentage and his past struggles as proof that he doesn't have much of a chance. But then you watch his training videos and you start to wonder, what if? What if Roach is improving in a way that no one expected? No one's been able to fully predict what he's capable of.
Tank Davis, what do you need to do together with you and your team and obviously your son to score that victory?
We got a game plan. We're gonna execute it, and we're gonna get the
Move
result.
that head, bob and weave, bob and weave.
Couple right hands. Well, we mentioned them.
It's not just the fans paying attention. Tank and his team are definitely keeping an eye on these training videos as well. They're not the type to underestimate any opponent, especially someone as hungry as Lamont Roach Jr. Tank knows that every fighter he faces is coming for everything he's worked for, and he's not about to let that happen. If anything, these videos are probably pushing him to train even harder. That's what makes this fight so interesting. On one side, you have Tank, the proven champion, the knockout artist, the guy who's been at the top for years. On the other side, there's Roach, the underdog, the fighter who's been quietly putting in the work and showing signs of something special. It's a classic storyline, and it's the kind of matchup that has fans eagerly watching every move.
Announcement of the Gervonta Davis Roach fight.
I think that, it's had a lot of criticism, but it's not a bad fight. Lamont Roach is a world champion. He's smaller than Gervonta Davis. The problem is not many people are aware of who he is or his ability. But he can fight. I don't think it's a huge fight, but not a terrible.
Full counter uppercut. The moments that Gotti is perhaps searching for.
The upcoming fight between these two is really starting to heat up, and Sean Porter's recent comments are making it clear that this could be a much closer match than many people expect. When Porter talks about Lamont Roach Jr. being familiar with Gervonta Tank Davis's rhythm, speed, and style, it really makes you stop and think. That kind of experience is hard to replicate in training. Roach has been in the same camps as Tank, sparred with him, and knows him on a deeper level than most fighters ever get to. It's like playing a game with someone whose every move you study for years. You know what to expect, and that can change everything. There's no doubt that Gervonta Tank Davis is a powerhouse. His record of 30 wins with 28 knockouts speaks for itself. But what Sean Porter is hinting at is that Lamont Roach Jr. isn't walking into this fight without experience. Roach has already felt Davis's power in the ring before. He knows the speed and precision Tank brings to every fight. That familiarity could be Roach's secret weapon. When most fighters face Tank for the first time, they're caught off guard by his explosive power and lightning-fast movements. Roach, on the other hand, has been there and done that. He knows what it's like to take a punch from Tank, and if he can survive those early hits, this fight could turn out very differently.
God damn.
Let's fight on the inside. Let's work a little bit.
Once again.
It's worth noting that Lamont Roach Jr. has been on an impressive streak since his loss to Jamel Herring in 2019. He's won 6 straight fights and even became a world champion last year by defeating Hector Luis Garcia to claim the WBA junior lightweight title. That wasn't an easy accomplishment, and defending the title against a tough southpaw like Johnny Fergo McCrory showed that Roach has the grit and adaptability to succeed at the highest level. These aren't the achievements of someone just filling a spot. Roach has been sharpening his skills and building momentum, which could make him a serious threat to Gervonta "Tank" Davis. On the other hand, Tank is coming off a string of knockout victories, including a crushing win over Frank Martin. Tank's power is what makes him such a dangerous opponent. But, as Sean Porter pointed out, it's a whole different situation when your opponent already knows what that power feels like. For most fighters, facing Tank's punches for the first time is a shock. They're not prepared for the sheer force he brings. Roach, however, has already been hit by Tank. He's familiar with the intensity of his punches, and that experience might give him the edge he needs to last longer in the fight than most.
And the thing that I really appreciate about Tank is he's a dog. That kind of what he just said, you can put them earmuffs up and go at it. He kind of will assess you as well, and whatever he needs to do, he'll do it, you know, so.
As much as we're calling this at times like a competitive boxing.
What's also interesting is how much Roach has improved with each fight. He's not the same fighter who lost to Jamel Herring. His agility, timing, and ability to adjust in the ring have all gotten better. You can see it in his recent performances, like against Hector Luis Garcia, where he showed he can handle pressure and still come out on top. Then, against Jamel Herring, he proved he has the power to stop an opponent when the chance arises. These are all qualities that will be important when facing someone like Tank Davis.
Hey, can you see who it is? Hey, who is the dude? Who is the dude?
And that right there is why Gervonta Davis fights don't go the distance.
Porter also discussed the mental side of the fight, emphasizing that Roach needs to stay calm and not let the pressure of the moment get to him. That's easier said than done, especially when facing someone like Tank, who excels at intimidating his opponents. However, Roach isn't a newcomer. He's been in the sport for over a decade and has fought some tough competitors. If he can maintain his composure and stick to his strategy, he might be able to frustrate Tank and create chances for himself. Another important point is Roach's preparation for this fight. His training footage shows a fighter who is focused and determined. He's been working hard on his speed, footwork, and combinations, skills that will be essential when going up against someone like Tank.
Again, it's not fighting one of the elite guys that you want to see him fight against. He's fighting another kind of B-level fighter who is really, really good, but you want to see Tank against the best of the best.
Lamont Roach, and this is nothing against him, I think this is actually a good fight. I think he's very skilled. It's kind of giving the Canelo blueprint right now, where Canelo is like picking fighters, Edgar Berlanga.
Going on the attack, able to keep Manny Pacquiao at bay for the most part.
Roach knows he's the underdog, but he's fully embracing the challenge. He's been putting in the work and it shows. His movements are sharper, his punches more precise, and there's a noticeable confidence in the way he carries himself, signaling that he's ready for this fight. Tank, on the other hand, has also been training hard. He knows that Roach is no easy opponent, and with the fight being moved from December to March, both fighters have had extra time to prepare. This could play in Roach's favor, as it's given him more time to analyze Tank's recent performances and adjust his strategy. The delay has also allowed Roach to stay in peak physical condition and keep his momentum going. What makes this fight so interesting is the difference in their fighting styles. Tank is known for his explosive power, capable of ending a fight with just one punch. Roach, however, focuses on his technique, ring IQ, and ability to outmaneuver his opponents. This clash of styles will make for an exciting matchup.
About it. Oh, Manny Pacquiao Mayweather missing with the right hand, sticks the jab, counterattack by.
This fight sets up a classic showdown between power and strategy. If Roach can avoid Tank's big punches and make him miss, he could find openings to score points and potentially control the fight. However, that's a big if, given Tank's ability to close the distance quickly and land those devastating shots. Not everyone thinks Tank will have trouble with Roach, though. Teofimo Lopez recently told Tank to lower his ego and give the fans the fights they really want to see. While Lopez isn't directly involved in this match, his comments raise an interesting question. Has Tank's confidence crossed the line into overconfidence? It's easy to see how this could be a factor in the Roach fight. If Tank is looking past Roach or underestimating him, he could find himself in a tough spot. Roach may not have the flashiest name in boxing, but he's shown time and time again that he's skilled, determined, and adaptable in the ring. That could make all the difference in this fight.
Here's my take on the fight. Everything is true about this situation. One, Gervonta Tank Davis was being ducked leading up to this. Shakur Stevens
able to keep Manny Pacquiao at bay for the most part. There have been
Davis has an impressive undefeated record, but his focus on maintaining his image as the top name in boxing could distract him from recognizing that every opponent presents a unique challenge. Teofimo Lopez's criticism about Tank's ego might be more relevant than we think. What if Tank isn't taking Roach seriously because he sees him as just another opponent who can't match his level? That mindset could be dangerous, especially against someone like Roach, who excels when he's underestimated. Roach's preparation for this fight seems to focus on staying sharp and being ready for whatever Tank brings. Unlike some of the other big names on Tank's potential fight list, Roach doesn't need the spotlight to prove himself. He's focused on the fight, not the hype, and that could give him an advantage.
Going to 140? Teofimo? Yeah, I do. I'm gonna slap the shit out of him when I see him. Why is that, Tank? Hey, Tank. I'm gonna really slap the shit out of him. Tank, Dante's proclamation.
do something about it, or Manny Pacquiao Mayweather missing with the right hand, sticks the jab.
Roach's focus is fully on the fight, and that's exactly what makes him such a dangerous opponent. When someone has nothing to lose and everything to gain, they become much harder to predict. While Teofimo Lopez may question Tank's ego, Roach's humility could be what levels the playing field. Lopez also made a great point when he said fighters need to leave their pride behind and approach boxing as a business. That advice is especially valuable for Tank, but it also highlights what Roach is doing right. Roach isn't trying to play the star. He's not caught up in social media drama or making flashy statements. His focus is purely on fighting. If Tank underestimates that mindset, he could find himself facing a fighter who is distraction-free, ego-free, and ready to take advantage of any opening that comes his way.
I lost to the guy. Brian just kept literally lunging in and throwing the hooks. I mean, that was an easy read for Tank. I think that with myself and Tank,
with volume punches. Mayweather's plus 24 plus minus rating than his opponent.
Another important factor in this fight is the mental game. Tank is used to being the center of attention. Everything he does is under a microscope. Every word he says, every move he makes, gets picked apart and analyzed. That level of scrutiny can create a lot of pressure, even for someone as skilled as Tank. On the other hand, Roach is able to fly under the radar. He doesn't deal with the same intense spotlight, which gives him a sense of freedom. In a high-stakes fight like this, that freedom could be a game changer. Roach can stay focused on his strategy without worrying about his public image or how his performance will be judged by the world.
Oh man, that's the right picture. Tail versus Tank. Great fight. Great fight. What are we fighting at? Tell me the numbers. Tell me what we fighting. 135, 140, because that makes a difference. Listen, you gotta go to the king. That's the king behind me.
Floyd, and Mayweather basically says, okay, well, let's fight on the inside. Let's work a little bit.
Teofimo's comments about big fights and pride also tie into Tank's usual approach to opponents. When Tank steps into the ring, he likes to be the one taking control, being the aggressor and setting the tone of the fight. But what if Roach disrupts that? What if he uses his underdog status to throw Tank off balance? Teofimo's point about handling business could be a hint that sometimes it's the quieter, more disciplined fighter who ends up on top. The idea that Tank might overlook Roach seems even more likely when you think about Tank's recent focus on bigger names. Tank has talked a lot about wanting to fight stars like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, but those matchups haven't happened yet.
Really good with him, even though, because Tank at that time, I worked with my son and he wasn't even working in that sparring session. My son was about 30 pounds smaller than.
Accuracy for Floyd Mayweather. There's the pot shot, straight right hand down the middle.
That could leave Tank feeling frustrated or distracted, which is not ideal when facing someone as skilled and clever as Roach. Roach's ability to stay calm under pressure could be a major advantage. Teofimo pointed out how important it is for fighters to check their egos and stay focused on the task at hand. And that's exactly what Roach is doing. He's not trying to match Tank's power or get caught up in his strengths. Instead, Roach is likely focusing on strategy, timing, and finding ways to exploit any weaknesses. This approach could frustrate Tank, who is used to controlling the pace and style of a fight.
Would you consider you and Gervonta friends?
Friends? Probably.
Is it going to be hard to go in the ring and fight your friend?
Not at all.
Are you all going to be friends after?
Yeah, why not?
Either way it goes.
Both making money.
But you guys are making each other bleed.
Hopefully I just make him bleed.
Oh, true. Okay.
As much as we're calling this at times like a competitive boxing match,
It's also important to consider that Tank's recent streak of knockouts might have made him overly confident. Yes, he's incredibly powerful, but power alone doesn't win fights. Roach has already shown he can adjust and find ways to neutralize his opponent's strengths. If Tank enters this fight thinking his power will guarantee a win, he could be in for a tough surprise. Teofimo's comments about pride could serve as a warning, not just for Tank, but for any fighter who believes they're unbeatable.
When the people who I fight, when they start talking, that's when y'all get dumb. I'ma beat his ass.
He can't
y'all
do
talking.
shit with.
For
I don't
real.
give a fuck.
So y'all better be quiet.
I don't give a fuck if y'all was quiet, if y'all was loud.
He got the whole hood over there. Like
Teofimo's criticism of Tank's career choices might hint at something deeper about how Tank approaches his fights. If Tank views each fight as just another step towards something bigger, he could end up overlooking the immediate challenge right in front of him. That's where Roach could capitalize. By treating this fight as his big opportunity and focusing entirely on the moment, Roach could catch Tank off guard. For Roach, it's not about ego, it's about seizing his chance. While Teofimo's comments may seem unrelated to the Roach fight at first, they actually highlight some important factors that could influence the outcome. Tank's confidence, though well-earned, could turn into overconfidence. His focus on bigger matchups might cause him to be less prepared for the unique challenge Roach brings. Meanwhile, Roach's ability to stay calm and focused could be the key difference. Whether Tank takes Teofimo's advice to heart or not, it's clear this fight is shaping up to be far more intriguing than many expect.
Yeah, man, I mean, it's going to go. Tank going to be losing the first 3 rounds. Then he's going to download the data. Then he going to knock this dude out in round 7 or 8. Then he going to...
Mayweather trying to jump in with that lead left hook.
Gervonta "Tank" Davis is once again facing the storm of online criticism, something that has almost become a routine for athletes in the age of social media. This latest drama revolves around a fan who went from praising Davis as a boxing hero to claiming they could beat him in the ring, all in the span of just a few hours. True to his style, Davis didn't shy away from calling out the situation, posting a screenshot of the exchange on his Instagram. This sparked yet another fiery debate about fan behavior and the pressure that comes with being a public figure.
Him on that, he ain't gonna fight me. Niggas too pussy. Try to fight Isaac Cruz, they said no. Sabrina Matias complained about his hand, but now he's fighting in June. I'm fighting in June. We could have made the fight happen. They didn't want it. And then after that, Devin Haney had that situation with Ryan Garcia. There's nobody else, really. And then everybody keeps bringing up Tank. With Gervonta, they got him on that. He ain't gonna fight me. Niggas too pussy. So I'd just rather go after the guy that's too much of an ego, and that's Terrence Crawford. I promise y'all, even after this.
The fan first reached out to Davis with a message full of admiration, saying, "You're my favorite fighter. You're the reason I want to box. I want to train like you, and maybe one day be a champion." This type of message is something athletes likely get all the time, often getting lost in their DMs. But in less than 24 hours, the tone of the same fan's message took a sharp turn. It now read, "You ain't all that. I could beat you any day of the week, just like Lamont did." It's a drastic shift, and Davis decided to share the exchange, sparking even more conversation. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.